So back here again, run this down so that you can get your knife blade. Try to stay on that line if you can. If not, we can always shave it. Try and do this a little bit faster too, just for the fact of limited time. So be something along that lines there. Do the same on the other side. I say once you get it close, that's all we're really looking to do right now. We can come back in with the sand and paper works wonders on the bodies. They clean them up pretty good, pretty quick. So I'll be using a 120 grit sandpaper. So typically you just only got to make a couple passes with that. Again, come back and the back edge of your knife where it's a little stiffer and you have control, it's not going to flex. Okay. Go through, clean that out. Do the same on the front here. I said you want to make sure when you're coming across there you don't go crazy and end up hitting this right here, because you'll end up scoring that, and as you can tell, once you get a couple bends back and forth on that, this stuff will break, so, or crack. If that's the case, just some super glue with some accelerator on there will glue it back together so it's not a total loss of the body. Sometimes you use the lightweight Lexan bodies and they're cracked, they're pretty much shot. You can back them with strapping tape or some different things that way, but they're usually pretty much shot right out of the get-go. Okay, so it's pretty well trimmed out. We'll do this, come up the back pieces here. Trim that so it's flat, it's easier to get on. So that kind of gives you an overview of the back. And on the front sides here, like I said, depending on how you want this angle, I made this section here a little bit longer. So I mean, if you want to come on, you want to put this at an angle, or you want to round it. Some guys kind of have a rounded door in the front, some have an angle. Usually for my builds, I usually just basically will kind of take and just follow this inside line here. That line, just with the X-Acto knife, kind of go up, run up it a couple of times and just kind of follow it. So we're just going to follow that up, and then I kind of feather it into this point. Like I said, I'll sand this in so it's smooth. Repeat that and do the same on the other side. Try to do it so that you can kind of see what I'm doing here. That one I usually get a little more aggressive with, just because you're kind of following that groove, making a couple passes. Like I said, just kind of bring that down and feather that out. So we'll kind of round this out a little bit more with the sanding paper. Don't use sanding drum, just do it all by hand. So you got a piece of sandpaper handy here. No, this actually happens. No, this is 220, which will work too. So basically, you want to go over every surface that you did, so it's got a smooth. There's nothing to sharp edges or anything like that. You get in the corner, you may have to actually end up, kind of curling the paper a little bit to get down in there, and then basically just sand up to where your line's at. It's gonna be the same thing for the deals. The other thing, when I look down the front of this, I want to try to have this area right here try to be consistent all the way across. I don't want it real wavy. It just kind of really helps the appearance of the car. So like this one here has got a little bit of a wave in it, but I'm going to try to keep it so it's got a nice smooth appearance of a rolled roof. So when you get in the windows, like I said, you're going to want to take in kind of roll it up into almost like a cone or a funnel shape, and basically kind of make it, cut it, I made it a little too small here, but on the back side of that. So I don't know if you can see, but it's time consuming. So basically just kind of go up and down in the corners where the radius is at and get them smoothed out. And then just kind of run it back and forth. And the other thing to do is kind of finish it off on the inside, because there's usually some crumbs on the inside here. Just kind of run your thumb across there so it's flat, but yet it's the opening, the bottom of your thumb is kind of pushed out through there. I mean, that's just a pretty quick sand in there with some 220, and that's a pretty nice clean window cut out right there. It's pretty consistent all the way through. Got a little bit more cleanup to do here, but all in all, it's pretty good. Basically, just repeat, what I showed you up here and around the windows the rest of the way throughout. Anywhere where there's a radius, roll it up and kind of, do an oscillating up and down motion. Same thing with the back. Try to have this so that it's consistent with this thickness. So you might have to do a little bit of sanding flat back here, as well as up here, and maybe just give a little roundness to it. But that's pretty much it. And then anything where you get these kind of burrs in the back, that's basically when you back sand it, that'll take care of those. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I'll get this one completely finished up, and I'll come back and I'll show you kind of how to figure it out once we get it mounted on the chassis and what we're looking at doing from that point forward.